Mia, let's start there. I mean, that's a huge discrepancy, 700,000 from some of the organizations that are doing this work, tallying up these figures versus what the department will admit to.
Yes, Bongani. So let me break it down. NITSCRAM, this study, it stands for the National Income Dynamics Study, Coronavirus Rapid Mobile Survey. Now, it's a nationally representative survey where people are being phoned monthly and asked a range of questions about their income, their employment, household welfare, and COVID-19 related behavior. Now, more than 30 South African researchers are involved in these studies, right, from a number of universities. Now, this specific report looked at, how children are dropping out, are they participating, and especially over the 4 waves. But the Education Department says that the figure is much lower, and that is because some of the children actually have now returned. They say that the latest data is 46,000 children who did not re-enroll if you compare it to those who registered in 2020 and those who came back into the system in 2021. But we still don't have the real figure for 2022 to see over the 2-year period how many re-enrolled.
I remember when I was at school, there was a thing called a register. Surely it should be as simple as checking who's showing up for school through the register.
And that is specifically the problem. We don't have real-time data to actually indicate whether children are actually physically in the classroom, if Bongani and Mia are actually in front of the teacher and are actually participating. And without that data, NPOs like the Zero Dropout campaign, for instance, they are on the ground and monitoring these things. They say they don't have that data, so we can't actually really estimate how many children are not in the schooling system.
And of course, there's the issue of rotational learning. I mean, I've taken calls from learners who say sometimes, especially when there's no parent around, they don't know if it's their day today, is it their week today, and it just gets compounded. All right, so you went to Protea Glen was one of the areas, right? Trying to find some of the faces behind these statistics.
Yes, Bongani, and it was really difficult actually to find these teens. Many of them were unable to speak to us. You can understand some of them are doing drugs just to numb the pain. Some of them say that that they have to look out for their family, so they can't afford to go back to the school system. If they are not there, if they are not making money by recycling stuff, then there's nobody looking after their siblings. There won't be food on the table. But there was one specific teen who really caught my eye, and we managed to speak to her. Her name is Diketso Mugitli, and we said we wanted to speak to her. She also dropped out in 2020 in the start of the pandemic, but she was so scared to speak to us. She even asked us just to move her out of the neighborhood. And when we stood there and we were interviewing her, asking her the general questions, she started crying. And you could see the tears just going underneath her mask. And she was basically begging us to help her. She doesn't know where to go to. But to no fault of her own, she doesn't have parents. She doesn't have parents. Her mom, she's got a single mom. Her mom is not at home. She's not helping her. And she's literally now depending on the neighbors.
Where's mom?
Mom that's what she says, ran off with a boyfriend and left her there.
Current events, developing stories,
tough questions.
Your voice making a difference.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.